Welcome back to another episode of playing Crusader Kings 3 on the hardest possible rule set, starting as the Duke of Bohemia in 1066. As we began, we're in a bit of an ironic situation in that we've spent almost the entire game being concerned about scourge conquerors, often having two next to us, and our concern was that we did not have a big enough army or the right characters to fight them, and that any war against them we would be instantly obliterated. But now we finally have both the characters and the army to take on Scourge Conquerors, and yet there are none near us. We went through this before in the last episode, but just to confirm, when we look at the existing conquerors, there are only 4, surprisingly enough. Usually there are 8 to 12 even. Where we see, this guy is way to our northeast. He's at the northeastern corner of the map above Japan. These Omerids are down here in sort of southwestern Africa, the southwestern part of the map. The Orchids are oh, so I might take it back. Looks like there is, in fact, a Scourge Conqueror relatively close to us. So I think we have an excellent opportunity to test out our army. He's a relatively new Scourge Conqueror. I don't think he's going to be much of a challenge, but really one of the joys of this rule set is when you finally have your character and army in shape is just to beat up on the Scourge Conquerors that have caused you so much anxiety over the course of the game. And then this last guy is down in the southern tip of the Arabian Peninsula. We do still have this guy who is a Scourge Conqueror as well. He's could be pushing toward us, and we'll certainly want some of the land that he has. The other thing is we're getting close to being able, actually we are in fact able to hybridize our culture again. So let's start by doing that, assuming we have enough cultural acceptance with the Rhinelander culture. Rhinelander is itself a hybrid that the AI created. AI often creates this Rhinelander culture between French and Franconian. We can form a hybrid culture with it. I want to do that to get some additional cultural traditions, also advance some of the research on our innovations. I do like to stay bureaucratic, has some nice benefits in terms of monthly lifestyle experience and cultural fascination, as well as development growth. Also, it gives the option of making your court either administrative or warlike, and those are my favorites: administrative for economic growth, warlike, of course, for war. And so when we hybridize here, do want to try to keep bureaucratic. That means, since we have to pick pillars for both cultures, we're going to have our heritage become Frankish, abandon our West Slavic heritage. High German is already the language, the only one we can pick. For our traditions, I was originally thinking we would pick 7 traditions, and then by the time we got to the late Middle Ages, probably around 1210, as our 8th tradition, we would get by the sword. But at this point, I think we're at a stage where we need by the sword now, or not needed, of course, but want it to expedite some of our conquest. So with that in mind, let's pick our cultural traditions. These 3 are, well, so castle keepers and chivalry Both give renown, which is very useful. Industrious obviously gives development growth, allows us to build water mills and windmills early, also very powerful. We will take hereditary hierarchy for the feudal vassal tax contribution. Take chance on the jest for a number of benefits, including improvements to martial education, more knights. We'll take stand and fight, which obviously has a very negative and more friendly casualties, but all these benefits in terms of toughness. I guess that would be the 6. I would like to keep stalwart defenders if we could. Wonder if there's anything willing to give up. I mean, we could give up hereditary hierarchy. It really does have some nice bonuses in the long reign bonus, as well as feudal vassal tax contribution. Well, I think let's just go with this and immediately get by the sword. I don't worry too much about aesthetics. Usually I just go both, and we'll keep our, we pick an option, we'll keep the original. Let's check here to make sure everything is correct. And we could take off stand and fight and get stalwart defenders instead. You see here, stand and fight actually gives its own defender advantage. Those stalwart defenders gives a bigger combined advantage if you're fighting and defending in your own territory. But I think, you know, if I spent enough time thinking about it already, we're fine where we are. We will form our hybrid culture. See, here it is. We'll pick our fascination, which had been divine right, which we've almost completed. We still need a couple more before 1200. So we can get to the high medieval area as soon as possible. I don't think that's going to be a problem. As we discussed, we will immediately pick up by the sword. You know, it's probably a tradition everyone's familiar with. Obviously, the important part is you get unlimited kingdom level holy wars. Okay, and so that takes care of that. In the meantime, let's have some fun with taking this quite large duchy from them. Taking Moesia would also be interesting, but we're playing as part of our rule set total exclave independence, which means we want our lands to be connected to each other either by land or sea. So this is the better option. And if he attacks us or we attack him, we'll get to see what exactly it looks like to fight with a Scourge Conqueror. The AI has been putting my brother in there instead of me for whatever reason. In fairness, my brother has a advantage almost equal to mine, so it probably makes sense that you put him in and then my ruler could actually go do activities or other stuff, but I would rather have my ruler here. And there we see the armies of the Scourge Conqueror. the Borsids. Not sure exactly where he's going. We can tell he doesn't seem terribly interested in fighting me. I, on the other hand, am very interested in fighting him. Just got Divine Right. Let's see what else we want to get here. See that trebuchets we'll get in 5 years for cultural spread, so we won't pick that. It's really either scutage or windmills. The scutage contracts gives you even more gold. Windmills is really more for the building slot, since the industrious cultural tradition already gives us windmills and watermills. I think let's get with scutage. Only 6 years. After that, then we can get watermills. See, their troops are scared, as they ought to be. Let's see if we can catch some of them here. So see, at the moment, he, at the Scourge Conqueror himself, is not yet involved in the fight. We have a quite large advantage, as you can see, from our martial skill, all these other modifiers. So we are going to be stack wiping this army almost certainly. You can see that our crossbowmen are countering any of their best units. They're heavily counting our armored horsemen, not doing too much else to our other units. Huh. I'm sort of surprised. Surprised the battle ended so quickly. I have not captured the ruler. So that's not it. I wonder if I captured an heir or something. Oh well. Sort of anticlimactic. We'll enforce our demands. This is also, in addition to being fun, this is also useful in that if you can inflict 3 defeats, or you, not just me, but if a Scourge Conqueror suffers any combination of 3 defeats in a war, they cease to be a Scourge Conqueror. And so generally you want to inflict as many defeats as early as possible on Scourge Conquerors to cause them to get rid of that trait, instead of letting them build up to become very strong and potentially posing more of a threat in the future. As I typically do, we will be handing out these territories to dynasty members who are not yet rulers and who are adults. I won't give them to my own children necessarily, in case I end up deciding one of them should be my heir. Again, more territory in the Byzantine Empire for us. Their de jure lands, I should say. We have quite a ways before I can attack him again. I would like to take over France eventually, but it looks like that might be, I don't have any great claims on France at the moment. We'll go stalwart, almost certainly, to see what else we could get here. I mean, contender isn't bad, but I think I'd rather have a stalwart for the army toughness. Just further improve our forces. So that's interesting. We could don't necessarily want to make those theocratic. I think we will go with this rather sinful character and take some of Denmark up here. This guy is Tengri, so take his lands by Holy War. Assume the same with this guy. I think 3 wars will be enough for now. And our plan here is just to keep expanding, work toward being able to restore the Roman hegemony at this point. There was a bit of an interesting effect in that seems like for so long we had relatively weak armies, at least compared to the Cumans, who were our suzerain and who could have destroyed us at any time if we got to war with them. And then all of a sudden we almost certainly have the most powerful army on earth, and there's no real chance of anyone else defeating us. But we'll keep going and put that to the test. Let's talk about when we get down here to sanction loopholes. I also give some thought to going down the whole of body. When I say no one else can defeat us, you here might be the exception. You know, this combined sort of South China, India, Eastern India, Southern India, sort of conglomeration, hegemony here, but frankly I am dubious that they would be able to beat us if we got in a fight. So this guy has a lot. I mean, he has a ton of gold, so actually he might be the biggest challenge that we have. We'll see if he keeps working into the Balkans. Meantime, we will complete our war against Denmark. Not sure where Denmark's armies are. So, you know, getting the perk here along with another 100 learning experience, lifestyle experience, obviously have a 99% chance of success. So that's what we will do. See how quickly we can get up this tree and get to sanction loopholes, which we will then use to dismantle France and the Byzantine Empire. Really, we should probably focus on the Byzantines, given that that is more important. So I've talked normally about how coronations are generally useless unless they're your liege, which obviously we don't have. But then there is an event where you can get offered a courtier and lover that can have some very good genetic traits, and so that is what we are going to be taking this coronation. Seize advantages. I think the event I'm talking about is quite rare. Certainly you will know it when you see it. So there went most of the Danish army. See how much more we can destroy here. And here you can see we just have a massive advantage, partly because that they are recently disembarked. We will most likely stack wipe them, which we did. Make sure we get family members married here. I would like to marry her to a genius. Guess let's actually marry him, and their children hopefully will have those traits, and their children can be married to a genius. It's one of my sons. Let's reinforce that intelligence trait. My grandson, who has all 3 genetic traits at the lowest level. Let's marry him to our granddaughter, really reinforce those traits. I generally don't join wars against my tributaries. It's different if they're my actual vassals, at least sometimes. Create a bunch of titles, but they're all touchy level. So we'll let the game run. We have some sort of plague very close to us. Major consumption, which is not good. Talked before about how consumption is arguably the worst plague, because if you get it, it just lasts for several years. It prevents you from doing much besides fighting. Obviously not a very good coronation for this very young Queen of Sweden. She has no supporters and a number of major detractors. See if she'll give us a little bit of gold. Nope. Let's take this option just to get rid of our stress. And I guess we give her a weak hook. She's not The vassal is not in my domain, so I'm not in my realm. I don't really think she'd be able to do anything to me with a weak hook, so get that little bit of gold. Always want more gold. No point in giving the Queen of Sweden more magnificence. I think we will go with this one. This bottom one, helps with building instruction costs. I don't really think we need it. A minus 20% stress gain is very helpful. Again, we do want this character to live a long time and to marry his betrothed, who is currently 9. So we'll have a very age-appropriate marriage of 60 and 16. But we do need him to stay alive to see that kind of abomination happen. Just thinking about what, I guess let's go with the regimental grounds. The other option was to build a windmill. Really, we're making plenty of gold. Really sort of focus more on our military strength at this point. Want powerful men-at-arms when we fight against scourge conquerors. So this option gives us 150 renown, which I really like. So that's what we will do. We'll avoid stress here. Patient is okay. The 2 learning is good. Generous is a trait I hate early in the game for the obvious reason that the minus 10% income is very painful. But obviously the flip side of that is you get 3 diplomacy and 15 courtly vassal opinion, which is very helpful on succession and in preventing factions, having your vassals like you. I almost think that's more important now, even if the income loss hurts, so let's go with that. And while we're thinking about our wards, let's give them some traits. This, talked about before, this is actually the grandson of one of our sons who is not currently going to be our heir. We are educating that grandson just in case, and largely because the grandson would satisfy the requirements for strong blood if we were able to play him as a ruler. But unfortunately, we probably aren't going to get the opportunity to play him. We're going to need to find a different combination to get the strong blood. She picked the ensure peace oath, which is the one talked before that I always do. Don't really want to be wounded. 100 learning lifestyle experience sounds good, so that's what we'll do. Don't want the Hashish stupor. Avoid stress. Did not get the event I was looking for. That's okay. I don't think it's a big deal. We'll use our existing athletic trait to get back under the stress threshold. Could do another grand tour. I think I would like to instead engage in some good old war here. Basically, just want to clean up these counties. A bit unclear on exactly what this person holds. It may just be those two. Alright, let's go with that. Some Tingries we can mop up. Actually a vitalist. So they declare a number of wars. We'll just systematically mow down each of these counties. I guess if we wanted to, we could have our brother handle this while we go on a grand tour. I talked before about how the AI likes to assign my brother armies, which again makes sense because he is a very talented character in his own right. Still go with a taxation tour. Probably don't really need prestige, and certainly don't need to increase the starting success of the tour. We'll bring medical equipment. And we will bring superior mounts for the speed, or we can bring trained knights. I think superior mounts. Hopefully our brother can siege as quickly as we do. Seems pretty close. See, someone declared war on my vassal, which I can do because I'm above 160 counties. Increases taxes. Low quality artifact. Won't we become superstitious? Suspicious increases your stress. We're going to use that falconry glove, so if he wants it, he can have it. We want to continue our isolation. Distribute lands to one of our family members here. Probably should have picked someone that had a slightly better education, so we can give them all 4. Don't need him on remote culture anymore. We were doing that when we were trying to hybridize with Rhinelander. Survey lands for gold. Our 6 wars all completed. Can't yet form the Kingdom of Pomerania. Soon. Ledia is Tingri, so attack her using a holy war. We settle in for the rest of our grand tour. Again, don't like that option because chances are is you lose a lot of gold. We'll have to take the top because the percentage chances in the bottom one are too low. So I lost our wet nurse. We will recruit one. If you recruit one, you normally get a wet nurse that's at least good quality instead of just the average quality option we have for recruiting from our own port. Here we have well prepared. We'll go over this side, particularly like inspection, to get domain taxes, to get a whole bunch of experience. We can get +1 domain limit. And get an excellent wet nurse. Here we'll accept the invite, get robbed to avoid the high amount of stress from the other option. And there you go. Thieving mayors across our land. Increase cultural acceptance, which is useful in improving vassal opinion. Here our hammer. modify number of contracts. I guess we could hold off modifying those contracts until we get scourge, and then we'll change all the scourge contracts in addition to getting more gold from them. Guess we'll pay the gold here. Probably from a strict min-maxing standpoint, we shouldn't. We'll take the dog because we're trying to live as long as we can. To marry our betrothed and hopefully get a good son. That last decision, didn't want to become his rival, and so just took the easiest one. Same thing here. Don't want to pay gold to anybody. Very high chance of succeeding on that prong. So I think we'll take this option, a little bit of stress for some more piety. Here we'll take the extra cultural acceptance. Check in on our rewards again. And brave, which is very good for our martial character. We'll spend a little bit of piety to increase cultural acceptance. Again, don't want to seduce someone else's wife. We'll just take the option that reduces our stress. Again, don't really want to get some random effect. Do want to get cultural acceptance. Fine to have a friend. See if we can get some more gold out of this guy. And we do. Immediate stress relief. We are now completely de-stressed. Yes, we'll accept this guy's tribute. He was certainly someone we were thinking about attacking otherwise, so Sundex, he changed culture. Picked up a castle here that we want to give away. I think we've had some of our people occupying our court positions die. Replace them. We can end our capital isolation since the consumption plague is gone. Put our physician back on increasing our lifestyle experience. Courtiers join our court. Now, it doesn't really hurt to have extra courtiers. This one, almost always pick that top option if it's available to get the extra prestige. Guess he's already paying extortionate taxes to us. Let's take this. Get luxury dining. We talked about want to stay alive. That medium health boost for 15 years. Very strong. Likewise, let's keep our health intact. Captain Jean or Jean is probably someone whose land I took who became a landless adventurer. I don't think they'll be able to penetrate my 2 bodyguards, food taster, cupbearer, redoubled guards. All these things I have. We'll get the defender trait. So you get the 450 renown and re-up this magnificent liege modifier. We can host another grand tournament. Let's see what we need in terms of hostile leader experience. So wit and bow. We will do the 2 wit events. Archery. Finish off with a joust since I like joust. This should mean that we have completed the hostile looter tree with this character. We'll have max hostile looter experience for each path. Just going with the option that increases our score the most. Lose some stress. This one, I guess, I'll lose some stress. That'll take longer around. Increase our score. Take the highest percentage chance. Oh, my brother is scheming against someone else. I don't really care. I did prevail in the recital. Increase our score. Take a look. Dynasty legacy. We'll get studious youth, which is very helpful. Hopefully, get our dynasty members, or at least our wards, to have 4-star educations from now on out. Pay the gold to increase the quality of the artifact. Sounds like a good deal, given we have plenty of gold. This character somewhat strangely ended up with only 2 personality traits. I thought we'd made him diligent. It's a bit strange. The question is who we want to have him marry. I think this works. Let's check on whether our daughter has had any children that well, yeah, we're probably gonna have to end up in a less than ideal situation regarding our succession, unless we're able to very quickly have a genetically gifted child with our betrothed when she comes of age. Anything affect our health, and hopefully we'll be able to keep this character alive to have another child in a few years, and then have that child as our ward until it comes of age, which means we really want to be as healthy as we can, completing the bow trait path, and House Polluter will help that. It'll give us medium health boost. Again. Let's focus on the match, get the score increase. See if we can get some renown. Score increase. Discovered scootage. windmills next. So scourge contracts increase taxes at the cost of less levies. We really don't need any more levies, so we are going to be implementing scourge contracts wherever possible. So because more gold is better. This poor guy has quite the contract now. We want someone Herculean who's right there, so that works out well. This is our sons, who is not very genetically gifted. Guess we can marry him to our niece. For this joust, being wounded shouldn't be that big of a deal. Get more prestige. Our position should be good enough to heal our wounds very quickly. And there we go. Relatively good chances of succeeding here, and we did. And we won the entire event. I believe we won all 4 events even. Here on the furniture, better piece in place. Train for our tournament after just attending one. And I think for next episode, if I can remember, we may go through our vassals and see how many scourge contracts we can implement. Oh, he's already above max languages, so we won't have him learn anything else. And that is going to be it for this episode. Thanks very much for joining. Next episode, I think we'll be going back to seeing how much conquest we can achieve, particularly over the Byzantines and some of these Scourge Conquerors down here, so it should be interesting. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope you join for the next episode. Thanks, bye.